Hello, friends. Welcome, welcome. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Welcome, you guys. I'm Angela, and we are already at week 8 in our journaling book club read. It's Never Too Late to Begin Again with Julia Cameron. Discovering creativity and meaning at midlife and beyond. So that's what we're here to talk about today. Week 8, reigniting a sense of joy. Like, who doesn't need more joy? I know I can always use extra joy or ideas for more joy, or who doesn't want more joy in their life? Oh my goodness, you guys, my eyes are getting so bad. I think it is from all the chemo, because my eyes are getting so blurry lately and I'm not sure why. I just came from chemo and I thought I would do this since I read everything last night, and I thought I would do this just in case I start not to feel very good tomorrow. So I've got my cup of tea and my book and my lip balm. Got to get all sorted out. Before we get into our book club, I just want to share with you another book that I got for reading in the evening with my glasses on now. And I found her on YouTube, and it was such a good, I just listen, she's just amazing. This woman, her name is Gladys McGarry. If you've never heard of her, she's 103 years old. At 103-year-old doctors, 6 secrets to health and happiness at every age. I am so excited to read this book. So I'm so excited to read this book that I wanted to read a little bit about the back of it. Well, maybe the back of it doesn't really explain, it doesn't explain it, but she's such a powerful woman. And she was a doctor, and she got trained as a doctor. I believe it was like in a war, and she's just all about connection and love and joy. And I thought it was just so interesting right now. Sorry, the light is really, but it's so sunny out, I can't really complain, but the light's really bad. But this is the book, Mother of Holistic Medicine, Gladys McGarry, MD. And she's just so full of love and care. And I think she's just such a powerful woman. If you haven't listened to any of her speaking, for a 103-year-old woman, she's so articulate. I talked about this in another video about following, noticing people that are really articulate with their words. And she is somebody who is so graceful and articulate. It's unbelievable. And she just talks about how being joyful and kind and loving and having such gratitude, she believes, that has led her to have such a long life and to quickly get out of those vibes when we're all about ourselves and we're all so consumed with ourselves. And there is a time and a place for that, for sure. But having just such gratitude for life and others and things like that. And I thought I just wanted to share that with you because of this week's reading is on reigniting a sense of joy. So I'll just be really, really brief with how I go about these weekly book club things. Is that basically we're creating a memoir in the end, and every week we do some journaling. This is not the book that I do my morning pages in, which is morning journaling, but this is the book that I do my memoir stuff on, which is all the different prompts and things that are in the book, which I will read you, so that if you don't have the book, you don't have to worry about it. I'm going to read you, I'm not reading a whole chapter or anything, but I'm going to read you the prompts that she gives you to do your own thought work on. And that creates like a little memoir, little memory journal through the years. And the years are based off, I always have to look back in the book because I forget how, I don't know why I can't remember this, but anyway, there's 12 chapters in the book and you divide your age by 12. And then that is the number of years you're going to cover each week. So she says everyone's memoir will be different, and the questions in each week, there's things to look back at on that age period of what you were, and just to give yourself some things to think about from that age. And a lot of times what it does is it provokes a lot of memories, good and bad. And you can write that in your journal, and things come to you that you've forgotten that are really interesting. Like last week, we talked a lot about synchronicity and resilience. And sometimes when you're doing these journal prompts and looking back on the age that you are during that chapter and answering the questions are really interesting, because sometimes we forget to go, like now I'm 48, almost 49, and I'm going to be looking back in my 20s, my late 20s, I think. And there's a period of time where I've forgotten a lot of stuff until these questions come up and I think about it. And it brings me back to remembering certain friends that I forgot that I had had. A lot of them, I can't remember their names, but I still remember all of these different relationships. And so it's really powerful to do it following the proper way of the book, but you don't have to do that. You don't even have to answer any of it. You can just read whatever it is for you. But I really finding that answering those questions of our age has been super enlightening. I thought that it was so interesting, because a lot of that time when you look back, I've forgotten so many things. I can't believe when they come back to me, I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot all about that whole time in my life. Like there was a certain amount of years that are a complete blur to me. And now there's certain friends. And the funny thing is the title of this week is week 8, Reigniting a Sense of Joy. And one of the friends that I remember, her name was Joy. And it took me forever to remember what her name was, but I could visualize her. I could see her. I could hear her voice. I could remember her apartment and us hanging out and doing all these things. And I couldn't remember her name until I read this chapter. So that was really interesting. So here's how it's going to go. I'm going to read a bit from the book, and the parts that I have highlighted that I feel are significant and might be of benefit to you. And then you go ahead and either read at your own leisure with me. And like I said in all of the videos, is do it however you want. This is 12 weeks, but this isn't concrete 12 weeks in a row. Take your time to read through the book. Read it through faster than the 12 weeks. It doesn't really matter. I'm putting out my videos when I can. Most of them are within a week of each other, but there is a break where I had a lot of hospital appointments and things far away. And so there's a bit of a stretch between some. But now that I'm back, probably going to be quite on track again. But I want you to know that you can do it at any pace that you want to do it. And so let's get going. So she says, oh, and this is also Julia Cameron. She's the author of The Artist's Way. What am I doing? Where is the camera? There we go. I have read The Artist's Way. I have many books from her. I also have Write for Life, which I really love if you want an inspiration for writing a book or doing creative writing. And I also have one I really want that I want to order next, and I can't remember what it's called. I have it in my cart on Amazon, but I will tell you about it later. So this week, we will explore and act on the simple but often profound questions: what brings you true joy? With a light heart, you will uncover many true values, and it is acting within our true values that brings us a sense of abiding joy. So, true joy. What brings us true joy? Have you discovered sources of joy in your memoir? What were you doing when you experienced joy? Were you exploring passions or interests? Oh man, I got to put my glasses on. Or did you have ideas of passions and interests that you abandoned during this time in the name of work, family, or something else? Many times, a negative emotion may color what was once a dream born of joy. Just the thought of it may trigger a torrent of emotion, jealousy of those who are pursuing it. In a sense, at the moment has passed, sadness, anger. I ask you not to be scared off by your knee-jerk reaction. Underneath this negative emotional overlay may exist something much more gentle, a sense of simplicity, innocence, interest. Allowing the childlike part of ourselves to play in the field of this dream, we are likely to discover a near gleeful sense of freedom and excitement. So while we may fear that revisiting our lost dreams will only cause us pain, the opposite may be true. These dreams may contain our healing. It is important to remember to set very small goals for ourselves. We must venture slowly and gently into our creative wounds, so we do not create new ones. It is also good to keep in mind that it is common for people to leave dreams behind. Leaving a dream behind does not equal a grand mistake or an irreparable loss, rather the opposite. When we gently explore these dreams, joy awaits. At times in our life, we must make choices, and those choices sometimes involve abandoning a creative dream. Two roads may diverge, said Robert Frost, but we have choices again. The beauty of retirement or midlife living or starting over, reinventing yourself, is that it provides us with the opportunity to travel back in time and explore the path that we did not take. And sometimes this memoir reveals those dreams to us because we're answering all of those questions that trigger us into memories from before. But dreams actually do not die. And I love that she says that, because dreams do not die. And if you have, I don't know about you, but if you have a dream that's really important to you, you'll notice that it continually comes back and nags you and nags you and nags you. And it will, your brain will keep prompting you to work towards that dream or remind you that you have that dream. I mean, there may also be a part of you that says you can't do it, you know, that part that tells you you're not good enough and there's too much fear to do the dream, but that dream is always still there. Oh, it's super windy outside. And so I love that she says that dreams do not die. So as you will write in your book, you will see that when you're answering all of these questions, that some of these dreams you've had for way longer than you may remember. So plan an extended artist date. So since we're doing morning pages, 20-minute walks, and artist dates, today we're going to plan an extended artist date. Are you okay, honey? Come here. Come here. Oh, come here. Oh my goodness. Somebody just come say hi. Oh, honey. So set more time aside than usual for your artist date. And the artist date is just simply doing something that you love, by yourself, going somewhere special for you. She says, perhaps you'll plan multiple activities, revisit memories from multiple eras of your memoir, or simply go on a longer and more extravagant excursion than you normally plan. Look out for synchronicity. Artist dates promise to include it. So artist date can be anything that you love to do. It could be going to the library. It could be hanging out and going and learning something new, taking a class, going and getting a pedicure, visiting a bakery, going to a bookstore and having no timeline, anything that you want. So this week, she wants you to have an extended artist date. So that I have not done. I have an idea of kind of what I want to do, but I'm not quite sure what I have to go by how I feel. Because like I said, I just had chemo yesterday. So tomorrow I expect to not feel too hot, and I'm not sure what day I'm going to do it, but I think what I want to do is read some of either that book, have a time by myself that I just do reading. And I also have another book that I'm working on that I want to do. So we'll see. We'll see how tired my eyes are. Okay, so the next topic is grandchildren. Now, this, you may or not be my age, you may or may not have grandchildren, or you just may not even have children, so you don't have grandchildren. But I just want to go over this briefly because it's been really powerful for me. And it may be for you, even in a different sense. So she says, grandchildren great nieces and nephews can be such an important source of joy. They want to play and delight, and they liberate in our internal play. Oh my goodness, inner playfulness. As we express our love through caring actions towards others, we must also be loving towards ourselves. We must learn to forgive our inadequacies. After all, many of us were single parents, and as much as we loved our children, we may have found that our focus was largely financial as we struggled to keep afloat. We may now be seized by regret that we didn't show our love for our children in more concrete ways. But what could be more concrete than dinner on the table? We must learn to forgive ourselves and give credit where credit is due. We sometimes have no choice but to work extra hours than to attend to our children's activities. Now we may be at an age where we can be a ready audience, and we can appreciate those grandchildren's gifts, and we can attend all of those things that we maybe missed or didn't get to attend, all of the things for our own children. And that can be really healing and really, really generous for our children. And actually to me, it creates a tighter bond with your child when you can support them and help with their children. So she says there's something to be said for aging that is something paradoxically youth. Aging seems to awaken the latent inner child. A grandparent's patience often seems to be a match for the grandchild's energy. So we can delight in the kids and we can do things with them. Like I have 2 grandbabies right now, and one is not walking. And so it is really difficult to be able to spend as much time as I actually want to spend with him right now because of our house, because we have a fireplace and the cement, like it's not set up for little ones, as much as my other house was set up with less dangerous things to get into. And so I really can't wait for summer, because then I can be able to support them more with more help. We can be outside in the garden, and we can be out playing on the grass and this and that. And I think then we can enjoy him more. Whereas my granddaughter, she didn't live near us when she was kind of getting to that little period of time. So when I had spent tons of time with her as a baby under the first year or two, and then they were away. And then now we spend so much time together, and we cook and bake and play in the garden and play games and board games. And she really does take your mind off of whatever you're thinking and put you into that childlike state for a little while. And it can be really, really powerful. So I wanted to just talk briefly about that one. And being a grandmother can make you feel closer to your own daughter or son or whatever. I found that to be really true. So the task around that topic is called forgiveness. Do you have children, grandchildren, or relationships with those younger than you who have been important in your life? What do you feel you need to forgive yourself for in relation to these people? Quickly jot down 3 past situations. Which one of them pains you the most? Allow yourself to take pen to page. You want to see? Take pen to page and explore this topic. Can you extend compassion for your former self? And I think that's so important to have compassion for our past self because nobody's perfect. And we maybe we didn't show up the way that we thought we would, or maybe we didn't show up the way our children thought and expected us to. And so there definitely can be room for forgiveness. Or maybe we showed up so much and the child parent thinks that we didn't, and there's some sort of discontent in there. There's so many ways that we need to forgive ourselves for and give yourself a little bit of grace. So that one's really important. And then which one of them pains you the most? Write about it. Can you extend compassion to your former self? I think that is super, super healing. I know it is for me. So in our memoir this week, we're going to log what age we are, not now, but dividing the 12-week chapters of the book by the age that you are, and figure out what age you are during this chapter, and ask those same questions. We're going to go over those same questions that we go over each week. Describe your major relationships in this period. Where did you live? Did you live in more than one place? What brought you happiness at this time? Describe one sound that brings you back to this period. Describe one smell from this period. Do you have any pets? Back then. What passions or interests did you explore during this time? What passions or interests did you ignore? What was your greatest challenge? What was the prevailing mood of this time? And what other memories feel significant to you from this time? So those are the things that you're going to use as journal prompts besides doing the forgiveness task. And then there's going to be a few more. And then you can look back at the age that you are and decide, well, not really decide, but look at it and think about things that you'd forgotten and maybe some important things that happened and challenges that you went through. And you can use that task of forgiveness for that. I know you want attention. I know. So the next topic is the power of whimsy. And then she goes on to talking about, in her decades of teaching, she's seen a lot of resistance to the morning pages and taking the walks, but nobody ever complains about artist dates. And she says that she believes that that is because the artist date is like a job that is for you, something special for you, that is like a play date for yourself. And it's clearly not work. So most people have no problem doing those. Now, you don't have to be an artist. You don't have to call it an artist date. You can just call it time for you, special time alone for you to think or do something that you enjoy or love. And she describes this time in herself that I highlighted and says the power of whimsy is so great with your artist date. She looks at this whimsical paperweight on her writing desk, catching the light shades of pink, and it reminds me of the artist date I took to a glassblower studio where I made the paperweight myself. Under the glassblower's careful eye, the glass went into the inferno, shaping itself as it melted into its current design. Just whimsy, just play. But that excursion left her optimistic, enchanted, and with a beautiful totem to remind her of her sense of mystery and fun. And by doing this playing for herself, it triggers our imagination. And I agree with that because I've done some different artist dates now by myself, and I feel like it does trigger your imagination because at first I feel like if you're driving, you're on a mission, you're doing the thing, you get there and you're focused, but you get back and you feel like, oh, you've actually have this sense of joy and where you're almost getting yourself unstuck from the feeling of being stuck somewhere. And putting time into yourself and self-care is so important. And they create, she even says, we are free to make connections that our logical brain does not see. And those can become super creative thoughts. And I think that that's so true. I had a day where I went to all sorts of different thrift stores. I went to a bookstore and just roamed around and picked up some sweet books for the grandkids and like workbooks with sticker books. And just by looking at something so simple like the sticker books reminded me of being a kid and having these little sticker books. And we used to have these little plastic things and we'd collect the stickers. They don't do that nowadays. They don't actually have stickers because now you can go get stickers everywhere. Before when I was a kid, they were expensive, but now we have like dollar stores, so you can get stickers everywhere. So nobody collects them. But back then, really aging myself here, there was only certain series of different things that we collected, and we'd bring these books to each other's house and to school, and we'd be like, bring your sticker book tomorrow, and we're all going to look at each other. Ooh, where'd you get that? And where did you get those? And ooh and ah at each other's sticker books. And it just reminded me of a time in my life where that was so whimsical and so joyful and playful and something I really loved doing. Oh, sorry, I'm playing with her bell the whole time. I hope it's not annoying in the sound. I'll stop doing that, but I'll still pay you. So that was just something that came to me in an earlier thought, and which I wouldn't have thought about. I probably wouldn't have had that thought for, I don't know, until something else happened. One time it triggered the memory of sticker books was I got some stickers that were scented, and I remember that we used to have those scratch and sniff stuff. But anyway, when we allow ourselves to play, we allow ourselves to connect with the youthful part of ourself. And this whimsical persona has good ideas for our adult self. Why don't you try that? What's wrong with a little fun? And so here, stop, Frank. She's encouraging us to have more fun and bring something more whimsy into our life. So what can you do to have more fun? Use that artist date as something fun for yourself. The power of whimsy. Many of us have difficulty having fun as we get older. We take life too seriously. So you can trick yourself into enjoying life. Take your pen. So here's some more journal prompts. What you're going to write is list out 10 fun things that you currently are not allowing yourself to do. They can be small to big. But what 10 things are you not allowing yourself to do that could be fun? And she gives some ideas of go dancing, ride a bicycle, read a tabloid magazine, take a bubble bath, eat a banana split, go dancing, all those kinds of things. That could be anything for you, whatever that is. So take your journal and pen and list out 10 things that you are currently not allowing yourself to do for whatever reason that may be. Maybe you're thinking you don't have enough time. Maybe you think you don't have enough money. Maybe you think you just don't even think about it at all. So the thought hasn't crossed your mind and you haven't been taking care of yourself, whatever it is. But what are some things like go having a banana split? Like that's pretty fun sounding and really like financially friendly. So maybe the go dancing is something that would be harder to do, but maybe it's going for a hike and watching the sunset. Maybe it's going for a kayak ride by yourself. Maybe it's going shopping in a busy place and you love the city and you just want to walk all day and window shop. Whatever that is for you. What are you not allowing yourself to do and giving yourself excuses for? So, laughter is the sun which drives winter from the human face. Victor Hugo. That one I highlighted because up here in the Great White North, winter lasts a long time, although this winter didn't. We had amazing winter. But I think that doing something that laughing, like even watching a comedy or especially watching a comedy and make popcorn, like you can make some fun ideas that are on the cheap. And you can also have ideas that could be expensive. Maybe you want to go get a hotel room for one night all by yourself and dress all nice and go out and do something, just whatever you want with no one telling you anything. It could be anything. It could be getting a manicure and you haven't done that for yourself forever or in a long time, or just cut some time out of your day for you. So whatever that is. Now, not all of life needs to be taken so seriously. In our lives and our daily writing, we come to feel a lightness of heart. Things aren't nearly as bad as we first think they are. And maybe they're not bad at all. Well, maybe they are. Sometimes they are. And I know that. So I won't minimize that one. But sometimes we get in a rut in our brain and we're repeating and we're stuck in this loop cycle, and it's all about our thoughts and the way that we're thinking about things. When you take your thoughts captive, you can really look at your thoughts and see if you're contributing to your own stress of creating this looping cycle in your own mind. So the task for this now in your journal is to write down what makes you laugh. Treat yourself to a comedy, a cartoon book, a cup of tea with someone you find funny, a great friend. All that matters is you find time to laugh. Indulge yourself and allow yourself to delight in what tickles you alone. Sorry, that wasn't a journal thing. That was just a task. So who can you go hang out with to have a good laugh? What can you watch to have a good laugh? Allow yourself to delight in some sort of something that is funny and can take your mind off anything. And that will bring you more joy. I noticed that when, have you ever done any kind of workout videos on, like any kind of workout videos or classes or anything, and the person has a straight face and they're just doing the thing, they're doing the exercise, and then there's a person who's smiling and she's like, "Woo, you're doing amazing, blah, blah, blah." And it's so much more enjoyable to do and watch somebody that's smiling. And I find that when they're smiling, you start smiling and you start getting into it, because the straight face one is not making it fun, but the person who's smiling and really means it is having fun. And then it's contagious, just like everybody says it is. It's very contagious. Now there's a whole chapter on, not chapter, but part on pets. And I'm going to skip through that because I just had my pet pass away, but I did read everything and I went through it all. I'm not going to go over it on here because I'm still too emotional about it. But basically, she means that who would believe that such a small animal could hold such a large place in your heart? And it's so true. And the whole point of this part is that animal companions can really bring you so much joy because they give you that unconditional love. And they can also be a real critical part of midlife. Or if you've retired and you're lonely, they can be huge, and just training them can be fun and a joyous project. She talks a lot about her pets and her dog and how sweet they are. And the task for this is to take the time to connect with a pet that enchants you. If you have a pet already, perhaps it is the day for an extra long walk and a special treat. Perhaps you offer to visit a neighbor's dog or have dreamed of buying a fish tank. And today is the day you'll begin your research. The youthful joy of pets bring lightness. What pet can you interact with today? And wouldn't that be a great idea if you love pets for an artist date to just go to a pet store and walk around and play with all the animals, especially if it's one of those big ones where all the animals are in little things and you can look at them and adopt things. And I mean, if you're like me, it's a really bad place to go because I can't come home without anything. So maybe not for me. My husband probably have big problem with that because everywhere I go, I come home with something else. Like last time we went to Palm Springs and I ended up bringing a dog home on the airline. That was amazing. Still have him, our sweet little buddy Brian, the black Chihuahua. We just love him so much and definitely don't regret that. But I got to be careful because as we get older too, we had 4 dogs and now we have 3. And I love animals so much that I find that I can't say no. And so I got to be careful. But the SPCA is an amazing artist date idea. I've done it every single time that we went on our trips because it's so fun for us. We just love it. But pet stores can be also amazing for that. And you can leave with nothing. You can just get some just cozy, cuddly vibes just from petting all the little bunnies and puppies and kittens and whatever. So the next area she talks about is luxury. And this isn't luxury in the way that you're thinking about being luxuriously and you have to be super wealthy to live in luxury. We're talking about luxuries being different for everyone and bringing that into your life to create more joy, whether that it may not be expensive. She goes to talk about how for her raspberries are a luxury. She buys 2 containers of raspberries every time she goes to her favorite store, and special perfume. Maybe it's candles. It can be whatever it is for you. But I know I love, it could be buying yourself a special thing when you go to the store. We have this really neat store. My girlfriend and I go hang out. We always hit up this place called the Rusty Bucket, and it's so luxuriously set up, and the decor is so cottagey and just beautiful. And we just go there to just drool and get ideas. And sometimes we'll buy something, and it's not cheap there. But even if you buy a little something small from there, it feels luxurious. She'd know what I'm talking about if she watched this. She will know because it's just something that we both love. We have the same similar tastes in things, and that's something that could be considered a luxury. So she goes on to using this, the woman's name, Karen. Karen reached retirement age and felt exhausted. So I suggested she tried spoiling herself a little. Spoiling myself, she said, I wouldn't know where to begin. And I'm on a limited budget. I don't have my work income any longer. So I suggested she start making a list of 25 things she loved. Karen nonetheless wrote the list. High on the list was a painting of Monet's water lilies. Karen lived in Chicago where they had the Art Institute and featured a lot of Monet. So go, I told her. She undertook a half-day expedition and returned charged up and rejuvenated. And she talks about booking another one with another certain painter. So it just depends on what you love to do. What constitutes luxury for each of us varies. Maybe you love to cook. Maybe you love to make special things. Maybe you love to get a deep tissue massage. No matter what form our luxury takes, it bestows on us a gift of renewed creativity, Vibrant ideas can flow to us. New and innovative ways of thinking become ours. Our inner artist responds to small acts of luxury. Rather than flogging our artists forward, we would do better to think of small bribes that lure us in the desired direction. Remember, treating yourself like a precious object makes you strong. So the task for the topic of luxury is maybe we're at midlife, maybe we're retiring, maybe we've lost our jobs, maybe we've lost our identity, maybe we don't even know who we are. And happiness feels almost too hard to get. But that sense of optimism and joy and faith is available to all of us. And what questions do we need to ask first to figure that out? Well, that would be in your journal, what brings me happiness? And that sounds so simple, but what brings you happiness can be a huge revelation. So look back in your memoir and list several things that brought you happiness at different points in your life. Which one is filled with the most vivid memories? How can you bring it into your life today? I thought that was really cool. I had so many, it was hard to almost choose what brought me happiness at different points in my life, but most of them had to do with nature. Most of them, the best memories that I have involve family, friends, nature, camping, the outdoors, gardening, pets. I have so many wonderful memories of 4-H when I was a 4-H poultry leader, and I taught the kids all about, well, everything poultry, and we went on little field trips, and we did shows, and we did expeditions, and we did bathing and cut chickens' toenails and painted them. You name it, we did it. And I had that's one of the best times of my life, and it involved children, it involved teens, it involved all that group of 4-H people. I miss that a lot. That's one thing since I moved away that I really miss. And I don't know if that's something that this book has enlightened me on, is that I need to look into that program here in this town and see how I could be of help and maybe make those same connections. But back then I had kids in it, and it just felt so good at the time. We just had so much fun. It was such an awesome program. So that's one of my happiest memories. And how can I bring it in my life today? Well, I still have farm animals and I still have that, but I've lost that sense of community that came along with it. That was like the best part. So I'm not sure, but I'm going to look into that. I'm definitely going to write that one down and get back to you on that about what I'm going to do about it. And I'd love if you left in the comments what brings you the most happiness and what thing you're going to bring into your life. More of that. I'd love to know. Please tell me. Please tell me. Share any enlightening moments that you have. So basically that is almost the end. So let's do our weekly check-in where we look at in our book, how many days did we do our morning pages? How is the experience of doing them? And it doesn't have to be amazing. That doesn't have to be your answer. It can be anything that's true. Be true to yourself and answer, how was the experience of them? Did you do an artist date? Where did you go by yourself? What did you discover? Did you enjoy anything in particular? Did you take your walks? What did you notice along the way? What aha moments did you discover this week? And these are all things that you can write in your journal as well. Did you experience any synchronicity this week? What was it? Did it give you a sense of humility, a sense of being somehow guided by a higher power? And lastly, What did you find in your memoir that you would like to explore more fully? How would you like to explore it? As always, if you had a loaded memory that you feel requires further attention, but you aren't sure what additional action to take, don't worry about it. Keep moving forward. And I love that she says that, because keep moving forward. Just don't get hung up on everything. This is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be sparking creativity. It's supposed to be helping you create more joy in your life. It's not to create a job that you have to do. It's not to make you feel like, oh, I got to read that chapter. I got to do this. You don't have to do it like that. Sometimes I have done a book like that's like this kind of in-depth book where I've just read through the entire book first and I didn't do any of the things. And then later on, weeks, months later, whatever it was, I would go back and I would do it, like follow it completely along. And so many different more things I got out of it when I did that. And I had already read about it. So don't worry about if you didn't do your journaling this week, if you didn't go for your walk, whatever. Just keep moving forward, keep reading, stay with us, keep watching, and tell me your moments of inspiration and joy. I'd love to hear what have you done to bring yourself more joy this week? I'd love to know. So next week, we're going to be at week 9 already. Holy moly, reigniting a sense of motion. That should be interesting. But I really am going to enjoy the sense of motion one, because I have started to read it already. And she talks about often we feel stuck because we don't know what to do next. But because we do know what to do next, we just don't feel like doing it. So we're going to examine the next steps. What are we going to do? So we are already over the halfway point of our book and had some pretty insightful moments. So I hope that you've enjoyed it with me. I hope you'll come back next week for reigniting a sense of motion and getting these next right steps written down on paper, journaled out. And oh, here come all the puppies. I guess it's time to go. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you. I'm honored that you take any time out of your day to watch this. And thanks so much for being here. I'll see you next time, friends. Bye for now.